Welcome, everyone. So we start this class by finding a position where you can sit upright in your body. So I'm sitting on the floor, but you can really sit anywhere. You can sit on a chair where it's fairly effortless, but you notice that there is effort to kind of turn just sitting into an asana. An asana is where we bring awareness to the body and we feel the body positioning it, the bones, the joints, in a way that feels spacious inside. So I usually bring awareness to feeling in my belly, my chest, even my throat, around my brain, where I can feel that there's some space in that. All of these inner channels, I can actually sense that they're open, they're free, like even down all the tubing in your belly, and there's a little bit of space there. You might close your eyes, take a few deeper breaths. So it's like we're starting. You can really tell there's a shift. I'm starting my practice. So, a minute ago, I was really caught up in a lot of I describe it almost like mental turmoil. It's like the mind is just like, all over the place, scattered. So the first thing we do is now give yourself some time of just arriving here, and this can really take a while. It can take almost, this whole 75 minutes to really arrive here. So keep breathing and feeling. And then we'll just start to reach the arm just out to the side. Just reach way out. Gradually start to bring your arms up. As you do this, like really get that upliftment through whole spine. You might feel your ribs lifting up, but keep your throat really soft. Okay, and then reach your arms way out to the side again. Notice the sensations here. Like, ooh, you can really feel that. And then arms coming down. Now we're going to do a little twisting movement here where you just reach one arm forward and then it comes up. And as it starts to go back, it actually rotates you. And you just reach back and let that hand touch down. Keep your throat really aligned and then just reach that same arm back. It reaches up and then forward and down. And then the other arm, you just reach forward, it comes up, and you just start to twist open. And that same arm just reaching back a bit, comes up all the way down. So you're actually practicing. We'll just do one more each side. Practicing like doing this in a fairly easeful way. So the arm reaching forward, up, it's like a big circle. It goes back, lift straight up, and then that same arm reaching back, going up, forward, and down. Other arms reaching up. So this, like letting this just feel good. Breathing through your nose, reach back, reaching up, forward, down. Good. So let's let go of seated pose and move yourself back so that or on your mat, so that you're leaning back. Actually, you just take your feet kind of wide apart and you really start to drop your knees back and forth. Now, I'm just doing this in a way that feels kind of just appropriate. It's a little bit faster so that I can just feel kind of a loosening, a movement, energy, just back and forth. So the way I like to practice and teach is that we have some time with repetition, we have time with doing movements like this, or sometimes we are in a pose, like we're holding a pose for a while because the body needs time with these, right? And then let your legs drop, knees drop to one side, take a little bit of a twist. So you do that by lifting your chest and kind of an organic movement of rotating and twisting. And breathe to your belly here. Now, as you let go, so we're just going to do one of these on each side, just to play with this. Knees drop. You really lift your chest up, and you do a little bit of a twist, like your ribs are lifting. There's that spaciousness inside. Your throat is really relaxed. Body, breath. Good. Now, as you let this go, you're going to go ahead and just kind of flip over to all fours. So in the beginning, I usually do some kind of warm-up action where we do what are called the 6 movements of the spine. So we do cat and cow here. This is going to get the spine moving in flexion and extension, sometimes called forward bending and back bending. But when we do forward bending and back bending, oftentimes we don't really involve the whole spine. So cat and cow will do this. And you breathe. So I love just bringing in the breath with this. Breathe through your nose. You're lengthening your breath where you exhale really thoroughly as you go to cat. You just squeeze. And then that slow inhale as you're moving towards cow pose. So this is our back bend. Lift your chin. And do 2 more of these, back and forth. You're moving your head, therefore your neck. And you might even notice that naturally you swallow here, or you might even like clear your throat, because this does start to cleanse and move your throat. Take your knees now closer together. And then we're just doing this action where you actually start to drop your hips down to the side. So your hips drop down towards the floor, side to side. Now, this one is good to just do this by feeling. You might ask, well, how far should I drop my hips down? And you just drop them as far as you want, and to be specific, as far as the body wants. It's good to just experiment. You can go faster, slower. I find this to be kind of an interesting movement or sensation, and it even starts to wake up strength through your arms, because you go kind of side to side, a little more weight bearing on one arm and then the other arm. Good. Now, as you pause, take your knees wide apart here. And we're going to take just a repetitive twist, another twist. So your left hand stays down, your right arm starts to reach out to the right, and you start to open that right shoulder and you twist open. So lots of spaciousness here. Like really relaxed eyes. As you let go, you switch. Now reach your hips back. Keep lots of space in your chest as you open up. Like, even make sure, like, what are you doing with your head or your chin? You don't want to just drop your head down, and you don't want to lift your chin too much, okay? So doing this back and forth, we spend a little time. We give the body some time to soften and allow this movement. One thing I would suggest is, as you're doing this, really push into the floor. And as you open, try not to force your head or your eyes to look upward. Okay, you might just look or face just gently out to the side, not cranking your head. Opening, breathe through your nose. Good. Now, as you let this go, both hands stay down. We're going to do one last little movement for your, this is more for lower back and hips. So now your knees come together, and then you just lift your right knee out to the side, and then it drops down. And then your left knee drops or lifts out to the side, drops down. And as you do this back and forth, so I'm lifting the leg, right? But you're also allowing really the hip to actually open up. So this is going to do a little bit of rotating through your lower back. Try to keep your spine lengthening here. Your chest is actually reaching forward slightly, so your shoulders are back. Breathe into your whole body here. Feel that spaciousness around your brain. Good. Now, as you pause here, we're going to take just one little warm-up down dog. So spread your fingers open through your palms and tuck your toes under. Start to lift towards downward facing dog. Spread your toes and just feel like you're lifting your hips like way up, way up, way up to lengthen your spine. You might even at first here kind of softly bend your knees. Moving to a plank pose, step your feet back. And then lightly touch your knees down. Now go ahead and lower down onto your belly here. So we're going to do one particular movement today, one kind of exercise that gets right into the core. So we're doing a little extra core work, okay? So we do that right here where you lift up your head, your chest, you move towards Sphinx Pose. So Sphinx is where your forearms are down. And in Sphinx Pose, you actively pull your spine in. You go to a back bend. So this is like that cow action. You reach your chest forward. You lift your chin a little bit. So I'm using my back muscles here. And now I'm going to take my palms together. So go ahead, as you bring your palms together, even move your elbows in a little bit, okay? So your elbows don't feel like they're ringing way out to the side, all right? Because now, and you might naturally adjust this, because right where you are, you're going to lift your navel up. As you lift your navel, probably your pelvis will lift up and then lower down. This is a great preliminary warm-up. Lifting navel up. and then lower down. Now, when you lower down, you could almost go to like a little bit of Sphinx Pose. Draw your chest forward. And then doing the opposite, you lift your navel up. And then you lower down. Slight little baby Sphinx. Lift your navel up. So this is even, it's working your back muscles and Sphinx. And then as you start to lift up, you're actually lifting up towards a plank pose. It's like that, what I would call like the seed action to lift up towards a plank. So you lift your navel, you lower down. Now, if you really want to dive into this, you could let your toes tuck under, and then as you lift your navel, you actually lift your knees up. And then you lightly come back down. Okay, so toes under, lift your navel, lift your knees up. Here you are in your elbow plank. And then you lightly touch back down, even go to Sphinx, like reach your chest forward. We'll just do one more of those. Lift your navel, and you might just stop there. As you lower down, move your hands now back towards your lower ribs, and you move to your down dog. So you lift up. Down dog probably will feel like the opposite or a counter pose here, okay? So spend a little time, close your eyes, and breathe in your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog pose. And then just walk forward and come up to standing. Reach your arms out to the side and just look forward here. Bring your arms down. So we are going to take first some balancing work. So I like to do balancing work that really requires very little flexibility. And then we move into more standing poses that require flexibility. So right at the back of your mat, or somewhat, we're going to play with taking Warrior 3 and then Tree Pose, okay? So we could start this small because we're going to do this 3 times, these 2 poses. Arms go to the side, take palms forward. And engage, so there's that navel area we were just using, so you might engage around the waistband. Take your right foot, step it forward a little bit. So there's that tone around the navel, and then just reach your left leg back. So this is Warrior 3. And get a sense that you are reaching back through your back leg. The chest is reaching forward, and you're not going into a back bend. So this could be a moderate tilt, or what you might call like an easy tilt. Easy amount of flexion in your right hip. Now, as you come up, you're just going to transition right to Tree Pose. And when you do this, you might take your left toes lightly down for a moment, or just move right to your Tree Pose. This can take a lot of focus and concentration and lightheartedness and good humor as you practice these 2 together. Take your left foot down and now just transition. Feel your left foot grounding, that straight up and down of your left leg as you reach your right leg back for Warrior 3. And stabilizing, because you know, if the joints are really loose, then this is going to feel wobbly. So firm your joints. Make sure the lift of the navel. Otherwise, if the belly just drops here, that's where you start to go into this back bend here. So staying strong and straight. Moving to your tree pose. Feel that like the kind of the plumb line right through the center of the body. You might just look forward, very neutral. Still, the engagement around not only your navel, but like the whole waistband. Firm. Feel that connection down through your foot. And then switch again. You balance on your right leg. Now this time, so I'm going to do 3 variations with my arms. This time I'm going to reach my left leg back and then reach my arms forward. When I do this, I feel that I really can sense the reaching back and the reaching forward. Lengthening, breathing. You choose like how much you're tilting, how much flexion is in that right hip. And then you shift, you move back up to your tree pose. Just noticing how the body feels today. Maybe in your tree pose, you're also reaching your arms up. Feel the soles of the feet, palms of your hands. Breathe and feel like your whole body, you're scanning your body. Now, as you let go, the arms come down and very lightly you place that left foot down. As you go into Warrior 3 on your left leg. That engagement. Continue to practice staying here, staying really interested, kind of fascinated by taking this shape. The reaching forward, the reaching back in a balanced way. Transitioning up to a tree pose. You might notice that in your left leg now, there's no flexion, right? It's actually really extended and lifted up. Maybe if you reach your arms up, you can sense, I like that feeling of the ribs, like the lifting straight up and down. And now as you let go, that right foot comes down. And again, last time, but we'll take this variation with palms together in front of the heart. Warrior 3. Reaching left leg back. So feeling the space around the heart really spacious. But again, not the back bend. Lifting to tree pose, coming upright. You might keep palms together in front of the heart. This position called Anjali Mudra. Bringing the arms down as you transition, balance on left leg, palms together in front of the heart. Strong left leg as you reach the right leg back. Make sure you don't have a strong agenda. It's more of an exploration. Giving the body time to study this, practice. There's really no replacement for practicing. Tree pose. You lift up. I find, I don't know about you, it really helps me to get that tone around the navel, to stabilize. Good. As the right foot comes down, let's just take some fluid action here where you reach the arms up. You take a big inhale, and then you exhale, and you just move all the way over. You inhale, you come up, and you exhale over. We'll just do 2 more of these. This is bringing back in that fluidity through the joints. Good. Now, next time you're up, you stay up, bringing your arms down. So these next standing poses then do get into a deeper flexibility requirement through like your ankles, hips. And I will say, if we're going to be doing like a triangle pose, side angle pose. If you like doing these with a block, you can use a block. So we're going to step the feet wide apart. And this is a little sequence that it's actually 4 poses. So it's kind of a quartet, or if you prefer a tetrad, 4 poses that I like to tie together. So we take the feet wide apart, and then we just reach the arms straight up here. Breathe, feel the kind of firming. Now taking right foot and open towards the right. Left toes point in, start to bend your right knee towards your Warrior Two pose. Right away, feeling like what happens in your hips here. And you might notice when I bend my right knee, my navel actually faces the right slightly. And I'm allowing that. And then you reach the arms out to the side, and that left shoulder really opens to the left. So Warrior Two, again, we give the body, we give ourselves time here. Feel that right knee reaching to the right, left arm reaching left. So what do you sense or feel here? That you keep moving into the pose. Now, very lightly, we start to lean out towards the right, bend your right elbow, and just like a feather, your forearm drops and touches your thigh. Okay, and then that top arm is going to reach alongside your head. And I know that you might feel like, oh, yeah, that didn't feel like a feather, you know. So, but we do want to make sure that we're not just collapsing like heavy down here. We could actually create some lightness. Lift. Your throat is nice and open. Now, as you start to, you could even look down here and start to straighten the right leg. So with triangle pose, both legs are straight, and then you just reach your arms almost like a T position. Bottom hand, the bottom hand touches, if you have a block, you could use a block. You might even touch your fingers down to the floor. Or maybe, look at the difference here when I bring my hand up on my upper shin. So it depends on how much flexion you want or the right hip wants, right? You could just look forward. Don't force yourself to look up. Feel like just align your head and neck. Open your mouth a little bit here. This one's good for your throat and your ears. Kind of cleansing through your ears and your brain. Now go ahead and start to bend that right knee again, and you start to come up. You touch that Warrior Two again. And then our fourth pose is our Revolve Warrior Two, where you drop your left arm down, you reach your right arm up, really bend your right knee. And this moves more into that side stretch of the right side. It's funny because, visually, it probably doesn't look like I'm in a giant side bend here. But boy, does it feel like a lot. So feeling is important, not so much like visually or shape. We breathe and we feel. We feel what is real. Good. Now as you let go of this, you straighten both legs, arms come down. And let's just take feet back to a parallel position. Even step a little bit closer. So legs are really firm and strong. Take your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Open wide across your chest. Now you're going to let your fingers go back there and take your hands down the backs of your legs as you go to a forward bend. And even give the backs of your legs, give a little rub, like a little friction so you can feel those muscles are stretching. And technically, these muscles are actually also working as you're folded over here. Good. Now come up, push into your feet, come all the way up. And as you come up, your arms reach up. Now we're going to take the left side. So we open that left foot to the left. And you might notice how like my whole pelvis, like my navel is looking to the left a little bit. And I'm going to bend my left knee. Lift your toes, let your feet, find your footing here. Now as you reach your arms out to the side, there's that, listen wide across, reaching right arm right, left knee to the left. Feel, breathe. You're continuing to move into the pose, right? The body needs some time to kind of study this and in a way kind of rise to the occasion, like really awaken the strength here. Like I find it helps when I lift my navel, like I get, like a little lighter. Now lean out to the left and lightly that left forearm, you bend your left elbow, the forearm lightly touches the thigh without sinking your heart, okay? Reach that top arm either straight up or alongside your head. So you're listening to your body. Like even if this feels like, whoa, this is a lot of sensation, because this happens in life, right? Like, oh my gosh, something, suddenly comes up. We practice not overreacting, just opening, feeling. Now you might look down here and start to straighten that left leg. Wake up the strength to straighten, straighten, straighten. And then the arms just reach out. So here's that kind of feather touch again. Lightly the bottom hand. whether you're touching your leg or a block. You're just light, and there's that lift of the chest. Whether your hand is touching the floor or you're lifting your hand higher up, feel, breathe that inner spaciousness. Now bend the left knee and you start to come up. So Warrior Two, stay grounded. That right arm now drops down, left arm comes up. Revolved Warrior Two, make sure you're still reaching your left knee like directly to the left. Light chest lifting up, feeling that side stretch. Good. As you let go, arm comes down, leg straighten. Take your feet back to parallel. And then here we're going to walk the feet together. Pause. Mountain pose. Even notice that subtlety of like reaching your fingers straight down. So we're going to move towards the front of the mat. I would like to go through a sun salute again, go back to I know, we can't wait, back to that core work we were doing. Take palms together. Sweep your arms up. Moving to your forward bend. Moving back to downward facing dog. Pause here, close your eyes and breathe. Now, as you move towards plank pose, there's a couple ways. So we were doing elbow plank, right? Let's just do that action where you're in plank pose and you very lightly talk about feathers and knees lightly touch down and then they lift up again. Knees lightly touch and they lift. And practice doing this. Your own pace. And notice the strength. You'd have to use both abdominal strength and there's back strength involved here. It's just plain old good for the strength deep in your body. For your lower back, especially. Next time your knees touch down, you can lower down now onto your belly. So legs reach back here. And let's start with just our little baby Cobra pose. You're not using anything other than back strength here. Like I'm not using my hands to push down. Now notice the difference as you go to Sphinx. So you lift up onto your elbows, your forearms. Take your elbows fairly close together so you can take palms together here, okay? And we'll go through that, those, what I'll call the two actions of starting to lift up towards plank, but then back towards your little baby Sphinx here. So notice what it feels like to reach your chest forward. And then you start to contract around your navel. So that's very different. You can even maybe watch me as I see like back bend And then I'm just starting to lift my navel up and even lift my pelvis up and then drop back down. I really like this when you can do it like in a kind of gradual, kind of graduate into this. Contracting, lifting, lowering down. So it's more about the repetition, lifting, lowering. When you lower, you could even notice the difference when it completely switches to back muscles contracting in your Sphinx. Your head will move, but your head is not dangling. It's, connected. Even if you were to tuck your toes under, lift your navel, lift your hips, and then your knees, make sure the whole time that you keep your head connected. So playing with this. You might notice too for your lower back that when you lift your navel to really let your tailbone pull in, all right? Kind of like tucking your tailbone in. And then lift your hips up, lift your knees up, lower down, baby Sphinx. And then finally, this is like next step if you want to go like next level. Is you lift your navel, you lift your pelvis, tuck your toes under, lift your knees, and then really lift your hips up, move towards Dolphin Pose. So this is similar to down dog, okay? But with your forearms down. And then you would walk your feet back. You move back to your elbow plank, knees down, pelvis down, chest forward, baby Sphinx. So I'm going to ask that you just keep going in your own way with this. That the options here really do connect everything in the whole body. Your legs, your spine, even your head staying connected. If you move towards Dolphin Pose, it's going to require that deep flexion in your shoulders, just like down dog. You might take a moment and just kind of keep it simple. Like just kind of lifting the navel, the hips, and lowering down. Really getting into that action. Good. So as we transition, you're going to stay on your belly and you're going to reach your arms back now. And let your head just kind of hover here. Move into, talk about another baby. We're going to take baby locust. Where you lengthen and lift your legs. You lift your shoulders, you reach your arms back. So locust pose is going to use your back muscles slightly different way. Arms definitely working a different action, reaching back, really using your triceps to straighten your arms. Good. Now, transition back to down dog. Hands on the mat, lifting up, lengthening your spine. Good. Very lightly, knees touch down. Take your knees a little wide apart and drop back towards child pose, okay? As you start to come up here, we're just going to take the right foot and step your right foot forward. Now, when you do this, you step forward, you take both hands over to your right side, you move into a nice lunge position, okay? So really bend your right knee, your left thigh is dropping, and again, lift your head, looking forward. Now, let's let that back foot tuck under, straighten that back leg, okay? And then take your hands up, gradually you're pushing into your feet, and just gonna reach your arms out to the side. Big open crescent pose here. Breathe, balance. Good one for opening around your chest. And just lightly bring your hands down. You can drop that back knee down and then stepping the right knee back. So you're back like all fours. And we'll just do the other side with this, that left foot. Stepping forward. And at first, you actually kind of drop down, like your pelvis drops into this nice deep stretch. Both hands might be on the right. Again, there's a great tendency to just dangle the head here. So keep it attached and actually feel that the difference of keeping the length through your spine. The back right foot, the toes tuck under, and you start to lift that knee up. Now, in your own way, you can, again, very gradually lift up here. Find your footing. Push down and then start to open up. I just love this full body action to really open in front of the hip. It's like a huge extension through that right hip here, where the right leg is back. So just breathing, giving the body time. And then step forward. You're just coming up to standing. So we're going to take here just a very fluid movement where you're reaching side to side. And I've, done this before. And it's good to notice like how your ribs really rotate side to side as you do this. And this time, when you reach, you're going to let your shoulder kind of slide up. And when you do that, it's going to actually pull your shoulder blade away from the spine, right? And then you might feel that, and it really is different. So many times I'm asking you to like draw your shoulder blades together. But this one, as you're reaching side to side, allow that stretch across your upper back. Okay? So this might be the only time I will say, let your shoulder drift up towards your ear. But I notice too, when I do this, it doesn't really get all crunchy in my neck. Rather, it just feels like a nice stretch across the upper back. It's good. Yoga really is about doing these muscular actions, like the pairs of action where you work muscles and then you stretch them, you work them and you stretch them. So as you pause here, we could come right to standing and take your hands behind. Now draw your shoulder blades together. In fact, this is a good one to do. Like, don't rely on your hands holding, your finger interlace. Release your fingers and just reach your arms back. So you might feel like, oh, now I have to like work my back muscles to really draw my shoulder blades together. When you interlace your fingers, sometimes this is called a closed loop. And now it's less work for your actual back muscles. All right. And then as you release your fingers, I just want to feel the difference. Like do this again, where you reach out to the side, and notice like, oh yeah, now I'm getting that stretch between my shoulder blades. So yeah, we want to be able to do both. And twisting the whole rib cage, moving, twisting. Good. And then pause, taking feet close together. So we're going to go back to some core work back on the floor. And this is going to be at first a little weight bearing and then more into like almost like classic sit-ups. Okay. So we're going to start. You could drop down to all fours. Okay. The hands are near the front of your mat. And we are going to move to, actually, we'll start this from downward facing dog, okay? So what I'm going to do is move from down dog into a little kind of sneaking into a side plank pose. So from downward facing dog, you could look back to your feet. So in plank pose, we have to move so we're on the sides of the feet. So I'm going to point my feet or point my toes to the left, which means I'm going to take my right foot and point my toes to the left. That means I'm pushing on my outer right foot. And then my left foot I have in front of my right foot. And I'm pushing on my inner foot. And then I'm just going to lift my left arm and just reach up. So here's this nice deep strength through the core. And then lightly, like a feather, the hand comes back down. And I just move back to down dog. So I have both feet down and they're one in front of the other. You can stack your feet if you wish to move towards that variation of Savasana, side plank. So my left foot, I'm going to push on my inner left foot, pointing my toes to the right. And then I'm pushing on my inner right foot, lengthening out, opening, reaching that right arm up. Left. And then lightly, just your hand comes down and then moving back to down dog. So right here, you might lightly touch your knees down and just take a little mini break here. And we're going to do this again. So we just got to practice this one. It's a brief hold of that side plank. So I'm starting by pressing into the outer right foot. This time I'll just stack my left foot on top and open to my Savasana. Lengthen and then lightly hand down. So we're really into the moving in and out of the pose. Light. I'm going to go directly to my other side, pushing into that outer left foot, the right foot on top. Reaching the right arm up. Very planky. Stable. Like I feel pretty stable. There's still, I feel a little bit of trembling. Top hand coming down. Down dog. Now, feel free to take a break or just breathe in your down dog. Doing one more each side, that right foot pushing down, Left foot can stay on the mat also, or stacking the feet. Lengthening to your plank. Side plank. Top hand coming down. And really smooth transition. Practice smooth transition to the other side. In any way, playing with this. You could always just be, practicing your plank pose. Good. Now as you end, you can lightly take your knees down and move right into a cat and cow action. Fluid movement. Good. We're going to move right onto the belly. So go ahead, recline, or I should say lay on your belly. But from your belly, you are going to roll onto your right side, okay? Now I'm going to go on my right side where my bottom right arm is just going to lengthen out, and I'm just taking my head on my arm. Kind of naturally, my left hand just stays on my mat to help me balance. Now I'm going to extend legs out really straight here. Okay, lengthen your legs. And then practice just lifting that top leg up and lower it down. And get the feeling of that lifting and lowering without rotating your leg at all. Like your foot stays parallel to the floor, okay? Making sure that you really are like reaching through your legs. They're extending like as long as they can. And then take your legs together and practice lifting both legs up. And just hold there for a little bit. Breathe, lengthen through your whole body. And then lower down. This is a good one, like to keep the soles of your feet open and lift up again. So both legs stay together. Lower down. So why don't we transition by rolling on the belly and then reach your left arm forward and then roll onto your left side. Okay. Adjust, extend your legs, keeping right hand on your mat to balance, and then just lengthen, lift that top leg up. Notice how you're aware that the leg is not rotating. Lower, and then lift that leg. Just practice that. Keep growing, lengthening, straightening that right leg. Good. Now keep the legs together and lift both legs up. And even just pause here and hold. Legs getting longer, strong and straight, lifting up. Yes, while breathing. Lower down. It's good to notice like your feet and your ankles here, right? Like the soles of the feet really stay open. So lift up again. Like even your ankles stay straight. You're not, letting the feet kind of warp at all. Breathing strong through your legs. Lower down. Good. Now, this time you're going to roll onto your back and you might kind of wiggle. So you're shifting towards the middle of your mat. Reach your legs straight up into the air. Take your arms way out to the side. And then start to lower your legs a little bit. Please be mindful here. This can be a lot of work for your lower back, for your back, your abdominal muscles. So really choose, like I'm lowering my legs just a little bit. Good. Now bend your knees, draw your knees in towards your chest. Just let the knees kind of fold in. And notice how that felt, because we're going to do this one more time. Reach the legs up and start to lower your legs down. Maybe now about halfway down. But boy, that, really increases the work here. Now, bend your knees, pause and breathe. So it is very different if we do this a bit more one leg at a time. So let's see how that feels. Bring just your right leg up, okay? And then straighten your left leg out against the floor, but let your left leg just hover there. Straightening both legs, notice the abdominal strength and your back strength. And then practice switching legs. Left leg goes straight up, right leg along the floor, kind of hovering. Switching again. Breathing, switching again. Good, and then bend both knees. Take your hands now behind your head. So when you now start to lift your head, you might notice that you're really using now your upper abdominal muscles, okay? This is the sit-ups movement where you lift your breastbone up. Reach your elbows towards your knees. Straighten both legs up. Slowly lower your head down. And then lift it up again. Now, when you're lifting your head, you're drawing your chin down. And even make sure, this isn't just your arm strength that's pulling your head up. We really want it, like you could even let go of your head for a moment. Just a little assist with your hands now behind your head. Bend both knees and then release your head down. Take your arms out to the side. Start to move towards your little twist. Let's start by adjusting shoulder blades though. Make sure your shoulder blades are flat. Point your knees up towards the ceiling and just start to rock your legs right and left. Easy rocking. Breathe through your nose. And start to slow this down. Drop your legs about halfway down to each side. Relaxing your throat. Good. We're going to pause right in the center, drop your feet to the floor, and bring your arms down right alongside you. Tuck your shoulder blades under. Yes, we're going to move to bridge pose. Start your bridge by contracting around your belly button. Like pull your navel down, straight down, and then lift your butt away from the floor. So isn't it interesting how your navel actually drops down as you lift your butt away from the floor? That's because you really are focused on lifting your tailbone up. Good. Now start to lift your breastbone. But as you lift your breastbone, make sure you're not thrusting your navel up, okay? So could you feel both of these? Pull the tailbone up and your breastbone. And as you breathe here, you can actually feel on your exhale how your navel draws down. Good. Keeping your throat nice and open here. Keep grounding your outer shoulders. Eyes are calm and soft. And then just gradually down. Very light. And then even close your eyes here in practice. As you lift into your bridge pose, notice how your navel really stays relaxed down, okay? It's your breastbone, the sternum that really lifts up. Lower down. Push into your feet and lift into your bridge pose. Now, as you're in your bridge pose, lift to a height that you could actually hold and just stay there. So it really doesn't matter how high you're lifted. We just can feel both that tailbone is lifted, sternum is lifted, okay? Pause here and just breathe. Feel your whole body. It's like the body, it just keeps kind of blossoming and opening to this. The shoulders keep grounding, the heels keep grounding down. Tailbone lifts again. And then you lower down softly. And go ahead and just reach your arms way out to the side. Take your feet wider apart and just start to drop your knees side to side. As you're doing this side to side movement, you might close your eyes and just feel how free your breath is. Like your breath is just moving through your nose. And then go ahead and transition to your Shavasana, okay? So, continue to study your body as you move into Shavasana. You might have kind of your go-to pose when it comes to your shape of Shavasana. But each time you want to be aware, like, is it working? Is it working this time? Moving into stillness. So there's a lot of intentional awareness in Shavasana. We don't just um, let the mind wander, leave the room. We're here, just feeling. So bring awareness to your face. I just feel a soft skin on your face. And then bringing awareness to your throat. My throat. Awareness to the center of your chest. Aware of your belly. Lower back. It's feeling the legs, like the weight of your legs dropping. And then be aware of your face again, or your whole head, your throat, neck, center of your chest, arms, your belly, your legs. Face, throat, chest, belly, legs. Keep going on your own. I'm here, I'm in my body. Physically, the body is doing nothing. The only thing moving is your awareness moving through the body. And it's actually leading to a deeper and deeper letting go. This is how we practice Shavasana. Now, you might choose one of those locations and let your awareness stay there. So, even the movement of the mind comes to stillness, resting. Our whole practice, in a way, trains us how to move and transition from pose to pose that we do all day. So, really, we have the same calm, relaxed quality as we transition from Shavasana up to seated pose. You feel like you need a longer time in Shavasana, of course, you can stay. When you transition to seated, there's this, you might take palms together in front of the heart and feel deep in the body this almost effortless effort that we've awakened. Bring this uprightness, spaciousness. It just feels just a wise thing to do is cultivate spaciousness around the heart, mind. We'll close with the sound of Om. We'll take a deep inhale. Thank you so much for practicing, taking time to do this formal practice. So, I'm just going to give a couple announcements. So, today is Tuesday morning, and here at Common Ground, the classes I offer, there are two classes that are in person Wednesday afternoon or noon on Wednesday from about noon to 1. And then on Fridays, this same time, 9:30 to 10:45, you could take that in person at Common Ground, or it's also available on Zoom. So probably just how you found this class, you can also find the Friday class. And just too, as a reminder that, boy, isn't it nice that we can, these classes, they're here. You can click in and have this, live teacher taking classes. And we do very intentionally offer these classes free of charge, that anyone can just click and take these classes. There's no fees or hidden fees or charges. However, we do still have two operating centers. We have our city center and our retreat center in Wisconsin. And if you want to support those centers, you can. And you can support me also. You can do that by going to the Common Ground website. It's pretty straightforward, online, how to send a donation. It will prompt you and ask you, like, if you want to put my name, Nancy Boler, there, that part of your donation would then go directly towards me. And then part always will support Common Ground. And there's instructions on the website. You can donate, in a way virtually, online, or there's instructions on how to send a payment, the actual address there if you want to do that. You can even set up a monthly donation. I know some, folks have definitely found like, oh, it's so much easier to just have a certain, monthly donation. And of course, you can always adjust that or stop that if you want to. So, and I like, just reminding people of how that all works. This, what we call giving and receiving freely. And it really is from the heart. It's like, it just feels like the heart, will tell you, like, if you're wondering, well, how much should I donate? Just tune in, like right here in the heart, because we don't really offer suggested donations. Okay. Completely up to you. And we wish, like, if you donate, to just notice like how it feels, like when you kind of, we say like completing that circle of giving and receiving. It's just a natural thing to do, and let it be suitable for you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I just can't wait to see you back here again, and maybe someday in person at Common Ground. So be well, everyone.